everyone, welcome back to the channel, Coding at Home. My name is Matthew Lonsdale, and here we program games in the Unreal Engine, and I teach you how to do everything you need to know. So, going forward through this for the series, so Season 3 is going to be the building system, and now you're going to need assets to build with. So, most survival games use a building system where you put foundations and walls and windows and ramps, and then other assets inside, like your crafting table, your storage boxes and stuff like that. So you're going to want some assets if you're going to do that. Now, if you don't have a massive budget, there is ways you can do it. You can make something like this. I've made this morning. It took me about 20 minutes, and these are a foundation, and you can drag off 100 or 200 apart, and they will line up like so. Okay. Obviously, we'll need to program all the snapping and the spawning of that, and then how you want to build it. There's obviously two ways to do a building system. There's where you spawn the item, or you use a blueprint system, where you lay down your blueprints and then bring the items to the blueprint and then craft it slowly. So like Ark, it'll build it ready. You'd build it in your inventory, and then you'd have the item. The forest uses a blueprint system, which has got quite a good building system, and stuff like that. So you're going to need some assets, and the best way I found is if you actually, because we are Unreal Engine, we are able to link up to what's called Quixel, and Quixel do mega scans and assets like you wouldn't believe, and they're all free to Unreal Engine users. So I'm just going to see why this is not loading up. Let's close that out. So if you haven't already got Quicksilver Bridge, this is what you need to do. So you need to come over to type in Quicksilver Bridge, it'll bring you to this page, hit download. I'll move my face out the way so you can see. Hit download. It'll ask you to sign in. Just sign in with your Epic account. So, that'll link up everything. It'll do it for you. Download that package. It uses a plugin, but don't worry, it'll do it all for you. When you download it, I already have, so I can't really run you through the process, but it's really straightforward. Hit download, it'll give you the little file. If I show you in my downloads, where is downloads? So it'll just give you an exe file, run that, it'll go through some settings. If I open this up, just give that a second. It'll run you through some settings. It'll ask you to sign in again. Like I say, just sign in with your Epic account. The settings it's going to ask you, if I open this up, this is what it's going to say. It's going to say, put in a library path, put it on your, don't put it on your C drive, because it'll just cram it right up, and you don't want to do that. It'll also ask you to set the download settings. Not download settings, your export settings, and obviously you're exporting to Unreal, unless you're doing Unity or Blender or wherever you're going to. But obviously for this instance you'll be going to Unreal Engine. You'll select your engine version, and then it'll tell you where, it'll ask you where the plugin needs to be installed. The plugin needs to be installed, and it tells you here. You need to go to your Unreal Engine file. Of the engine version that you're using. Is my face in the way? Fuck's sake. It'll ask you here, sorry if you didn't see that, and you want to put it in the said folder. So if you come over, find your Unreal Engine 26, go to Engine and hit Plugins and select that folder. So that's where your built-in plugins are going in the engine. Okay, and it's asked for a default project. Now I left this blank just to see what it would do, and it just fails. So set the project that you're working on to here, and this is a survival template. This will be whatever you've named your project. And now all you need to do is go to assets, and the fucking, like, I'm a bit breathtaking, honestly. All of these, all free. Anything you want. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, to be honest. And these are categories. These aren't single items. It's unreal, and you can get all these. So to put together the foundation. Now, sometimes you're not going to find the asset that you want, but you can make the asset in the Unreal Engine with littler assets. So you can put together one asset, and I'm going to show you how to do that now, how I build that crafting, the foundation. So what I done is I've went to 3D assets, I've went to props, we wanted a wood foundation, so I've scrolled through, I found this wood here. Okay, I've downloaded this. Sorry, get rid of that. I've downloaded this, and this is now gone to my local drive. It'll ask you where you want it to save them. Like I said, put them in a folder, make a new folder on your F drive, and I can show you what I've done for mine. So in my F drive, which is my storage, I've went to Unreal Projects, and I've put downloaded Megascans. It'll give you a few other things, but this is basically that pack there. Okay, so it'll give you the pack. Now that'll just stay in there because you're going to use this bridge to put it in the engine for you. So all the materials, all the references, everything is done. And the way you're going to do that is if you click on, I'll get out of these settings, if you click on your item, you're going to come down here and hit export. So what I'll do is I will very, very quickly, without being too picky, let's go interior, furniture, little table, something like that. We want something, there's a basic crafting table that we will put some tools on that as well, make that look really good. So we've got a dirty wooden table. We're going to hit download. Should I just move this out the way a little bit? Okay, so we're going to hit download here. It's going to download it. It's going to say purchase because, like I said, you sync up your Epic account and all this is free. Okay, so that's finished downloading. Now that will be in your local folder as well. Okay, so you're going to click on here, and now you've got the download button has turned to export. And now make sure you've got your default project set to the project you want this to go to. You might need to restart that project if it was open while you did this, so the plugin is all done. And all you're going to do here is you're going to click export. And it's going to export to the Unreal Engine. If I tab over to that, if it's going to show up, yes, you can see that importing. And it's importing the normal map. It's that. You're going to say OK, let it do its thing. Everything's successful. So if you went over to content, you've now got your Megascans folder, 3D assets, old wooden table, and it's done. Like that in the project for now, for free. I mean, that's fucking mint, innit? Right. So, to make something like this in the engine, I'm going to run you through it because I do this quite a lot. To make assets that you want, you sometimes need lots of little assets and you want to just merge them. So, to make this foundation, and you can follow along here or you can just watch and learn something, because when we go to series 3 of the survival guide to build a survival game, I'm going to build everything for you and I'm going to give them away and make them downloadable free of charge. Okay, so you can then follow along of the series, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So if you want to do your own things, you can. So if you just want to watch here and see how it's done, so you can do this in a fresh level if you want, if this isn't in the way. I haven't got anything in this level, so this is fine. Now what I'm going to do is I will move, I'll tell you what I'll firstly do. I'll get rid of all these because this is a finished product. So this is what we're going to make. As you can see, these are lots of little assets from the wood that I've imported. So we're going to move this out the way. Now, you want to keep stuff the right size, especially if you're going to have snapping when you're building a house, or you see foundations, your walls, your doors, your ramps, your stairs, everything, it's going to need to snap into the right place. You cannot just randomly make this because you'll have a fucking nightmare. So the way I do it to keep things the right size is I place an actor, I go to volumes, and I place a blocking volume. And I'm going to place this at 0, 0, 0, 0. And it is going to need to be at 0, 0 to set the pivot point on the asset. Okay, so we've got this blocking volume. Now this is about I think it's a 100 by 100 or a 200 by 200 box. They're 100 snaps, so this is a 200 by 200 box, all right, which is a good size. It's kind of to scale to a game if this was a foundation, so that's a 200 by 200 square. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into our wooden piece that we've downloaded, and we're going to drag this in. Okay, so we're going to pop this up here, and I'm going to turn my snapping right down to 5, and I'm going to line this up with the edge of the boxes. And there's a reason I'm doing that. Okay, that is because when I put one of these static meshes, especially a foundation, next to it, you don't want to have gaps around it because it doesn't look very good. Okay, so I'm going to place a bit of wood here, and then we can scale it. Don't want it hanging over too much. Let's try 1.6, something like that. Okay, we're right on the edge, which is where we want to be. You could probably be a little bit over on one side and a little bit under on the other if you want it to like key in. As you can see, that isn't too bad. Okay, so that's about right. And then we're simply just going to Alt drag. Okay, and then what I would do is I would make these a little bit random, key them in a bit, another one, turn that one round, try and make it look somewhat, flip this one this way to 180 degrees, key that in, go again, rotate maybe, drag that in, so it kind of starting to come together a little bit like that. Yes, I'm liking it so far. Maybe another one like that. Flip this one over, bring that up, just so they're not all the same. You can make them all the same, but it might look a bit shit. That's okay. Let's have another one out, and as you can see, something like that. What does the other side look like? The other side's quite flat, so what we'll do is we'll let that hang over a little bit, and that should key into this side quite nicely. And that's sort of like what the floor is going to look like. It doesn't look too bad. A little bit bumpy. Tell you what else we can do as well is if we just grab a little couple and just ever so slightly stagger them, because this is going to create the illusion that a little bit more on that one. You don't want it too much because you'll have an edge, but that's something like that, just a little bit. Okay, and then we will grab another piece and we'll just rotate up and give it some legs. So just bring this over into the corner, something like that. Now you can have it coming through, you can have it underneath, it doesn't matter, it's your game. Something like that. Another one, rotate it so it's different, bring that right on the edge, so maybe a bit more in, yeah. Another one, And again, let's rotate him just so it looks slightly different. And the fourth leg. And we'll rotate him as well, just to give it some uniqueness. Bring this in. Okay, and now the box is not going to be in the actual game. The box is like a template for creating it the right size. So if we now took all these bits of timber, which are these bits, and you want to, if you drag them over the blocking volume, I know I've got two because I've already made it, you can now move this blocking volume around. Okay, so let's move this one out of the way and put this blocking volume at 0, 0, 0. Now that's how it's going to look. Now what I would do is I would drag this down so the pivot point is about on the floor, which try -50, which would be half of it. Okay, something like that. And now all we need to do is simply select all our meshes, right click, and we'll merge actor. Now this is the point which I was making about putting it at 0, 0, 0. This box is pivot point at 0. Alright, because if you don't tick this, it'll get either the last one or it'll put it in a silly place, and that's going to be really difficult to work with when we are coding. It's not that it won't work, it just means you'll have to do twice as much work to make it snap and, you know, look good on the game. Alright, so if we tick this and then merge actors, and then I've made a new folder in the assets for it here, and what I'll do is I'll just rename this to number 1, hit enter. That'll merge the actors together. We can close that out, and then we can drag this in. As you can see, I did it 5 times to get it perfect, what I want. And then you can say, right, how does that look if I actually delete that? And now it's one actor. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put our snapping back to 100, and then we'll see if we alt drag how two look together, and it keys together quite nicely for a game anyway. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to look like a rough foundation. And this way keys together quite nicely, and this way also keys together quite nicely. Alright, and that looks like a good platform. If there's anything you don't like about it, don't delete this until you're happy. So you could say, right, well, I don't like the way that goes in the middle. That looks shit. Or I don't like the way the legs go. I don't like that, so I want to change that. And that's not a problem. All you would do is you would come to this one, and you can see these two together don't look very good. So we'll take this one and we'll rotate him 180 degrees, for example. I mean, it doesn't have to be 180. It can be anything you want. I'll turn my snapping down and maybe try it like that. I mean, you could give that a little bit of an angle, but you don't want nothing to stand out, because it'll look tiled if it's too dissimilar. Okay, so you could say, okay, I like that better, but these three now look too similar. So what I'll do is I'll rotate this one and try and break that up a little bit, something like that. Pretty level enough anyway. Maybe bring this one down and this one down a little bit. Don't worry about the leg, it's supposed to look rustic. That looks quite good now. Little bit poking out here, and then you would simply select all the pieces. I tell you what I'll do as well, I'll show you I'll move this off the center, right, and I will show you what can happen if you have this problem. Now say it's selected this pivot point. Now if you was to just merge here and not check this, merge actor, and we'll just put this in the content browser because I'll be deleting it. And what we have now is an actor which is like that. So the pivot point is not centralized and it's on this last plank. So if you were trying to spawn that in a game and you wanted it in a specific place to line, if you wanted that to be 100 next to that, you'd have a nightmare, because you'd have to find out this distance and then you'd have to set this to this location, set the static mesh to have an offset every time, and that would just be a coding nightmare. Another one is if you have all of these selected and it's not at 0, 0, 0, it's at 0, 3, 2, 4, minus 50, and you select merge, and you do tick this box, what's going to happen this time, do you want to replace it? Hit no, change the name, save. It just had the same name there, that's all. Okay, this one, so when I drag, I'll zoom out because it's not going to be, it's going to be totally offset. Alright, so you need to make sure that you put the item that you're merging where you want it. And I want it to look like that, and I want the pivot point to be at 0, 0, 0, and I want this item to be associated with that. So if I was to merge this now, merge actor, and I want to tick this box and it's in the position that I want it to be in, I now have, sorry, I have not selected everything, my bad. Try that again, merge, tick this box, and just change your name. Okay, now I've got exactly what I want. And the reason I've given it them longer legs is so if it was kind of coming off a landscape, you get this nice look and you've got like a good amount of play with building on unflat surfaces, you know, so you could build this kind of in, and obviously I'll turn the snapping on to 100 so it'll snap into a landscape quite nicely, and then you'd get this kind of deck looking area. Now obviously from up here it looks quite tiled, but in the game it might not look so that, so we'll jump in, press play. Obviously there's no collision. There's no collision on these at the minute because you'll have to put that on, which isn't a big job. But you can see, yeah, I like the look of it. And then obviously when you've still got this one, so if you go, oh, that looks a bit samey, I want to change that bit, change it here and then set it. And then when you're totally happy with your static mesh, then you could get rid of that. Alright, but keep that until you're totally happy. Save you having to rebuild that every time if you just wanted to make one little change. Okay, and then you would do the same with the walls and the doors. So you would basically, you know, put in a box, or maybe even use this as a template. You know, so you'd say, right, so I want a wall, and I want it to be the same size as that. All right, and then we'll build that. But don't worry, I'm going to do all them for you. If it was a little bit much to build walls and doors and everything, I'll do all that for you today. And then I'll put that in a file and make that downloadable, alright? And I'll put the link in the description for when we start Series 3 of the Survival Guide to Build a Survival Game. Alright? Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy all the free assets from Quixel. Thanks, Unreal and Quixel, for all that. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers.